The media and the automotive industry have perpetuated the myth that EVs are completely safe. But the truth is, there are real risks associated with owning an electric vehicle. While the media seldom sensationalize EV fires, the real threat to EV owners lies elsewhere. In this video, we'll disclose the dangers of owning an electric vehicle and what's so risky about them besides catching fires. But before that, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the thumbs up for the algorithm. Let's get right in. Number 6. Gas accumulation. Electric vehicles are often celebrated for their efficiency and environmental benefits, but there's a less talked about side involving serious risks. The risk of hazardous gas accumulation isn't just a minor inconvenience. It's a serious issue worth understanding, especially for anyone who drives or is considering switching to an EV. Let's set the scene. Your EV is parked in your garage or at a charging station, and the battery isn't fully charged. You might think this is no big deal, maybe even safer, right? But here's where things get tricky. A battery that's not fully charged doesn't always pose an immediate threat like a fire. Instead, it might lead to something much more insidious: the buildup of flammable gases. These gases can start leaking from the battery, especially if it's being damaged or is starting to degrade. Now, you'd expect those gases to drift away, but they don't in confined spaces like a garage. They hang around, quietly accumulating without giving off any obvious signs. There is no smoke or weird smells, just an invisible cloud of danger under your nose. Meanwhile, you're going about your day unaware that your garage is slowly turning into a potential explosion zone. All it takes is a tiny spark, something as simple as static electricity or a lit cigarette, to release this accumulated gas. The result would be a sudden and massive explosion that could tear through concrete, destroy vehicles, and put lives at risk. It isn't just a theoretical risk, it's happened before. Take, for example, a case where a Tesla parked with a punctured battery caused an explosion. The blast was so powerful it obliterated 3 nearby cars. Just like that, what seemed like a safe parked car turned into a devastating disaster. The danger here is that unlike a fire, which usually gives you some warning signs, gas accumulation doesn't. There's no smoke to alert you, no heat to make you suspicious. Everything seems perfectly normal until it suddenly isn't. This delayed reaction makes it so dangerous. By the time you realize something's wrong, it's often too late. Number 5. Gas emission after an explosion. When an EV battery catches fire or explodes, it doesn't just create a fiery mess. It releases a range of toxic gases into the air. These gases include hydrogen fluoride, carbon monoxide, and volatile organic compounds. These aren't just minor annoyances, they're potentially deadly. Hydrogen fluoride is particularly nasty. It can cause severe respiratory damage and even pulmonary edema, which is a buildup of fluid in the lungs that can be life-threatening. Carbon monoxide, another dangerous gas, can lead to poisoning. It can knock you out or even kill you within minutes if inhaled in large quantities. And let's not forget about volatile organic compounds, which can also harm health. These gases are even more concerning because they can stick around even after the flames are out. So even if a fire is extinguished, the hazardous gases can continue to pose a threat. This creates a serious risk for firefighters and first responders who are on the scene. They might think they're safe once the fire is out, but the toxic air could still lurk, and standard protective gear might not offer complete protection. These gases can also linger in the environment, complicating the cleanup process. They can contaminate nearby areas, making it more difficult to return to normal. Dealing with the aftermath of an EV fire isn't just about putting out the flames. It's also about handling and mitigating these dangerous gases. Number 4. Thermal runaway. You might have heard about EV batteries catching fire, but there's more to it than just a rare blaze. The real danger lies in something called thermal runaway. That might sound like a term from a science textbook, but it's a real issue and can be quite alarming. Picture this. Your EV's lithium-ion battery is at the heart of your eco-friendly ride, powering everything from the motor to the touchscreen. But those battery cells can start overheating under certain conditions, like physical damage or old age. When this happens, the heat doesn't just dissipate, it starts a chain reaction. One cell overheats, then the next, and before you know it, the entire battery pack is caught up in a vicious cycle of overheating. It isn't just a minor inconvenience, it's a ticking time bomb. Thermal runaway can escalate quickly, and in severe cases, it can cause the battery to burst into flames. But thermal runaway doesn't always end in fire. Sometimes it shuts down your car, leaving you stranded in nowhere. Imagine driving along and suddenly, without warning, your car loses power. Not exactly what you'd expect from a vehicle touted as the future of transportation, right? Manufacturers claim these events are rare, and to some extent they are. But rare doesn't mean impossible. The unpredictable nature of these incidents is what makes them so unnerving. You could drive your EV for years without a hitch, only for the battery to fail at the worst possible moment. While safety measures are in place, the fact remains that the risk, however small, is still there. Number 3. Complex danger of EV fires. Lithium-ion batteries power most electric cars and are notoriously difficult to put out. They often require thousands of gallons of water to control, especially when the fire starts in a confined space like a garage or parking deck. The real challenge lies in how these batteries behave once they catch fire. These batteries are prone to thermal runaway. If one cell fails, a chain reaction can be triggered. It spreads the heat and flames from one cell to the next, making it incredibly hard to extinguish the fire fully. So even if it looks like the fire is out, it could reignite days or even weeks later. Imagine the frustration of thinking everything is safe, only to have the fire flare up again. Adding to the danger, EV fires release toxic gases. These include harmful chemicals and corrosive compounds that are dangerous to breathe. Firefighters and anyone nearby are at significant risk from these fumes, which can have serious health effects. The smoke from these fires isn't just thick and dark, it's laden with chemicals that can harm your lungs and overall health. Number 2. Vapor cloud explosion. Another serious risk with electric vehicles or EVs that often goes unnoticed is the possibility of a vapor cloud explosion. Now, this isn't your everyday concern, but it's one worth understanding, especially regarding safety. Imagine that your EV's lithium-ion battery has seen better days. Maybe it's been through some wear and tear or been damaged by a minor fender bender. When these batteries degrade, they can leak flammable gases, something you don't want pooling around your car. Worse, these gases don't just disappear into the air. Instead, they can accumulate, especially in confined spaces like parking garages or your home garage, creating an invisible but extremely dangerous cloud. This vapor cloud isn't just hanging around waiting to disperse. It's a ticking time bomb. The result can be catastrophic if it comes into contact with an ignition source, a small spark, a stray cigarette, or even just a bit of static electricity. We're talking about an explosion powerful enough to send shock waves through concrete and steel, potentially causing significant damage to the surrounding area. To put it in perspective, a single kilowatt-hour of battery capacity can generate a staggering amount of flammable gas, about 506,000 liters. Considering that a typical EV battery holds between 60 to 100 kilowatts per hour, millions of liters of gas potentially form a deadly vapor cloud. Number 1. End-of-life management of EV batteries. Unlike traditional car batteries, EV batteries are complex and packed with hazardous materials like cobalt, nickel, and lithium. These materials are crucial for the battery's performance and can be a real headache regarding recycling. If these batteries aren't managed properly, these harmful substances can leach into the soil and water, leading to long-term environmental contamination. It's about keeping our streets clean and protecting our ecosystems and health. Recycling EV batteries takes more work, is expensive, and uses a lot of energy. Because of this, many batteries end up being stored for long periods or even sent to landfills. Dumping batteries in landfills can release dangerous chemicals into the environment over time. This isn't just a problem for today, it's a ticking time bomb for future generations. With more EVs hitting the road and older models aging out, we will see a huge increase in the number of batteries needing disposal. Our recycling systems need more time to be ready to handle this growing volume effectively. This could lead to serious environmental issues if we stay caught up. While EVs are often promoted as a greener alternative to traditional cars, their batteries can create hidden environmental problems. It's important to recognize that the environmental impact of these batteries doesn't stop once they're out of the car. So that's all for today's video. Remember to give it a thumbs up if you found something new to learn, and share it with at least one person you think could benefit from this. Subscribe to the channel, and see you in the next video.